Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us here today. It is a pleasure to welcome you to Hicksville. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge some special guests that we have with us today. Howard Zemsky, President and CEO, Empire State Development, Senator Carl Marcelino, Senator Elaine Phillips, Senator Kemp Hannon, Assemblymember Michael Montesano, Nassau County Executive Ed Mangano, Nassau County Legislator Rosemarie Walker, Nassau County Legislator Laura Coran, Nassau County Legislator Laura Schaefer, Suffolk County Legislator Kevin McCaffrey, Town of Oyster Bay Supervisor Joseph Saladino, Mayor of Massapequa Park Jeff Pravado, Lindenhurst Mayor Mike Lavarada, and Dick O'Kane and all of our friends in labor, as well as other locally elected officials who have joined us here today. Today we will be hearing from Governor Cuomo, Howard Zemsky, President and CEO, Empire State Development, Joseph Saladino, Supervisor of the Town of Oyster Bay, and Ed Mangano, Nassau County Executive. I'm especially delighted to welcome Governor Cuomo back to Hicksville today. They say that when the governor is in town, good things happen, so we're excited to see what's in store for us today. Since day one, the governor has been a friend and champion for Long Island. The governor is laser focused on driving economic growth and business and building the environment that businesses need to thrive across the state, here on Long Island, and right here in Hicksville. And he doesn't just talk about it, he gets it done. From cutting taxes for New Yorkers, to investing in jobs and opportunity, to rebuilding our infrastructure, this governor has delivered for New Yorkers. We are thrilled that he could be here today for this monumental announcement. Please join me in welcoming the Honorable Andrew M. Cuomo, the 56th Governor of the great state of New York. Welcome to Hicksville, Governor.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be back. It's a beautiful day. We brought the weather. We're going out to Jones Beach after this. We will not be in bathing suits, but we will be at Jones Beach. First, let's give Lionel Chitty a big round of applause for his great leadership. And Joe Saladino, we miss him up in Albany. He was a great colleague, but he's doing a great job here as Supervisor. Joseph Saladino, pleasure to be with you. Ed Mangano has done a great job as County Executive. Let's give him a round of applause. Special round of applause for Howard Zemsky because he's the man who has the check, so we want him happy. We have my colleagues from Albany who are very much part of today's announcement. Nothing happens unless the legislature makes it happen in Albany. And we have Senators Carl Marcelino, Elaine Phillips, Kemp Hannon, and Assemblyman Michael Montesano. Let's give them a round of applause. So, as you heard from Lionel, we work on a lot of important issues in Albany. It seems today there are more important issues popping up than ever before, more complicated issues, more pressing issues. We work on education, we work on the environment, cleaning the water off Long Island, which is a very important priority. But the main priority for the state is the economy. Why? Because if the economy is working, if we're creating jobs and people are working and they're earning income, that's the engine that pulls the train, right? If the economy's not working, then really you don't have the resources to deal with anything. But if the economy's strong, then you're driving forward. And that's been the focus of our efforts, regardless of what else we do. And the state plays a pivotal role in the economy. And for many years, what the state was doing was actually counterproductive to the economy. And we have changed 180 degrees what we've been doing. First thing the state does is it sets the business climate. It sets the culture of the state. And businesses make a determination, is this a state that is pro-business or anti-business? Do I want to locate here? Do I want to move? Because businesses, people, they're more mobile than ever before. You know, they pick up their laptop and they're gone. It's not like the old days where they had a foundation and they were here for good. One of the things the state did for many years was it continued to increase taxes after increasing taxes after increasing taxes. The state increased taxes at a higher rate than the people in the state were earning money. Just think about that. Literally raising taxes at a higher rate than the people were making the money. And that hurt us, and hurt us here on Long Island. Businesses left, people left to find a place that was more hospitable to business. We changed that. How do you change it? Well, you reduce state spending, and then you don't need as many taxes. It's a simple formula. Most formulas in life are simple, right? They're just hard to implement. You want to lose weight? Eat less food, exercise more. Very simple formula. Very hard to do. One day it's easy, but it's very hard to sustain. Want to live a long life? Don't smoke, don't drink, and get 8 hours of sleep every night. Simple formula. Very hard to do. So reduce state spending and you can reduce taxes. Yeah, but the state government likes to spend money, sort of like people. And there are a lot of good things to spend money on, and this state spent money for many, many years. We went the other way. We showed fiscal discipline, and year to year, our budget now only goes up 2%. What is 2%? It's the lowest increase in spending in the history of the state of New York. Just think about that. Now, some of you will say, well, how can that be? The governor's a Democrat, and Democrats like to spend money. How could he show fiscal restraint? Because I can count, that's why. And some Democrats can count. You know, it's not genetic. You look at the past governors, Democratic and Republican. Governor Nelson Rockefeller, great Republican governor, did a lot of good. Spending went up about 11% year to year when Governor Nelson Rockefeller was there. Governor Hugh Carey was next. Spending went up about 8% year to year. My father was governor next, 12 years, God rest his soul. Spending went up about 6-7% every year. We then had Governor George Pataki, Republican conservative. His spending went up about 5% every year. So 2% is a record low. And it required real restraint by the legislature on both sides of the aisle. The Assembly, the Senate, Democrats and Republicans. But they did it, and they did a great job. And let's give them a round of applause for what they did. Now you reduce spending, now you can reduce taxes. And everybody in the state of New York pays a lower tax rate today than they did 5 years ago. Think about that. Everybody in the state pays a lower tax rate. Middle class, up to $300,000. Large middle class. Lowest rate since 1948. Corporate income tax, lowest rate since 1968. Manufacturing businesses, who we're trying to attract, lowest tax rate since 1917, okay? So state spending comes down, taxes go down. That's the first thing we can do. Second thing the state can do is invest in the businesses that you believe are going to grow the economy. It's not like the old days where businesses run on their own. Every state in the nation is competing for business. Every state is calling up businesses, offering incentive programs, offering special savings. We'll give you a tax abatement. We'll give you this. We'll send a plane. We'll bring you and your wife down to play golf. It's unbelievable, the competition. So states have to work with business now to actually invest. On Long Island, we believe the growth sector is going to be in life sciences, research. You have some of the greatest facilities in the world right here on Long Island. Places like Stony Brook and Cold Spring and Brookhaven Labs, Northwell. You have great academic institutions like Hofstra University. Give it a round of applause. So investing in the academic community, investing in life sciences, we've been doing that. And the third thing the state can do is invest in infrastructure. Infrastructure is a funny word, boring word, ugly word. It's transportation. It's roads and bridges. It's what our forefathers did. They knew if you provided a transportation system, you provided the network, that development followed. It's why Eisenhower built the interstate highway system, right? If you have a transportation network, then development follows. And everybody agrees with that. Joe Biden, vice president in President Obama's administration, ran all over the country, and he believed in infrastructure and infrastructure construction, talked about it all the time. President Trump, when he was running, the most attractive thing that he said in my mind was that he would invest $1 trillion in infrastructure. It hasn't happened, but it was his main proposal in the campaign. This state, we are actually doing it. We're not talking about it, we're not planning for it, we're not doing press releases about it. We are actually doing it. We've invested $100 billion, and we are more aggressive in rebuilding our infrastructure than any state in the United States of America. And we're doing it all across the state. You know, new JFK Airport, new LaGuardia Airport, which is long overdue. Joe Biden had that great line about LaGuardia Airport, which I actually capitalized on, which was a little mean of me, but he said, if you were blindfolded, if you were put on a plane and you were blindfolded, and the plane landed at LaGuardia, and they took off the blindfold, you would think you were in a third world nation. And all the New York politicians condemned poor Joe Biden. You insulted New York, we're New Yorkers, now we're gonna beat you up, it was terrible. I said at the time, I said, well, it wasn't the most artful statement, but it was true. LaGuardia Airport has been a disgrace. We're bringing tourists in from all over the world, 50 million tourists a year, and you land at LaGuardia Airport. So we're building LaGuardia Airport, we're rebuilding a train station across from Penn Station, because Penn Station is also a disgrace. And we're building a new train hall right across the street in the Farley Post Office. Construction is going to be underway soon, so you never have to go into Penn Station again, which would be a good thing as far as I'm concerned. We're building new airports in Rochester and Syracuse and Elmira upstate and Plattsburgh, more roads and bridges, new Tappan Zee Bridge, rebuilding the Kosciuszko Bridge. Now, Long Island, probably more than any other region in the state, thrived because of infrastructure. You know what built Long Island? What made Long Island, Long Island? It's the Long Island Railroad made Long Island, Long Island. 1834, you want to talk about vision, you want to talk about guts. 1834, they start building the Long Island Railroad. The original vision was they wanted the railroad to go out to Montauk so you could get a ferry to Boston. That's why they built the Long Island Railroad. That was the impetus. And when they were building 1834, there was nothing. They were literally building through potato fields. But what happened is the Long Island Railroad, transportation spurs development. It then spurred development all along the Long Island Railroad. I remember when grew up in Queens, Eastern Queens. I remember when my aunts and uncles, everybody was moving to Long Island. Why? They could get a house, they could get a backyard, they got out of the density of the city. And they all would say the same thing, you know, I get on the train, I'm 32 minutes to Manhattan, right? That's how they bought the house. I get on the train, 47 minutes, and I'm at work, right? That was what made Long Island work, was that transportation, that reliability, that ease. And you could work in New York City, live on Long Island. You took the train back and forth, and it was great. And it was great for many, many years. And Long Island blossomed. And then something happened. You know what happened? Nothing happened. We just sat back on our laurels. We had the Long Island Railroad, and that was it. But population kept growing. Long Island got more and more crowded, more and more busy. The Long Island Railroad was never modernized. It was never updated. It became overwhelmed by the capacity because it was built for 1/4 of the capacity that now uses the Long Island Railroad. People didn't trust the Long Island Railroad. They started to get on the roads. Long Island Expressway, Northern State Parkway. Long Island Railroad, Long Island now has one of the longest commuting times in the United States of America. One of the longest commuting times. And that doesn't work long time. People are not going to spend hours every day commuting. They're not going to get on a train that they don't know if it's going to run or if it's going to be delayed. They're not going to be late for work continuously. So we did something that I believe long-term is going to be transformative. That after decades of doing nothing, literally decades, Newsday, 70 years ago, wrote, we have to expand the Long Island Railroad. 70 years ago. We have to build a second track and a third track. Parts of the Long Island Railroad, there's one track. You know when you get those, you hear the radio in the morning and they say there's a delay on the track and the Long Island Railroad, they mean that literally, the track. Something happens to the track. A poor squirrel passed away on the track. All the trains are backed up on Long Island. So for 70 years, they've been talking about updating the Long Island Railroad to now deal with the additional capacity. And nothing happened. Why? Well, because Long Island, the NIMBY factor is very high, right? Everything is hard to do. There's opposition no matter what you want to do. And society has gotten to a point where if there's any opposition, it paralyzes everything. I call it NIMBY paralysis. There is no major project that has ever been undertaken that everyone 100% agrees with. It's not human nature. Especially if it's a big project, you are going to have opposition. I don't like the location, I have a better idea, we shouldn't build the train, we should use helicopters, it shouldn't be diesel, it should be gas, it shouldn't be red, it should be blue. They're going to argue about something, but it paralyzed us in Long Island. And 70 years we did nothing. And then a few weeks ago we had a phenomenal breakthrough when we announced a $5.6 billion plan to modernize and expand the Long Island Railroad. Finally. Now, the expansion is a full comprehensive expansion. It adds what they call a second track, a third track. It rebuilds and modernizes 39 stations all along the way. It puts in a new signal system. It puts in additional parking, multi-level parking, so you can actually park when you get to the station, which is always nice. And it really transforms the Long Island Railroad for the next century. If there is one spot in Long Island that owes its existence to the Long Island Railroad, it's Hicksville. You know who founded Hicksville? Valentine Hicks. Valentine Hicks was on the board of directors of the railroad and made sure that the railroad came to Hicksville. Valentine Hicks was the second president of the Long Island Railroad. And Hicksville became Hicksville because you could live in Hicksville, the railroad was there, the commute was there, everything was great. That's literally what made Hicksville, Hicksville. And in the Long Island Railroad transformation, the place that gets the most radical transformation is going to be an entirely new Hicksville station, $121 million for a state-of-the-art station. Now, we have a second issue that we're grappling with on Long Island, which is we are losing young people. And you can't lose young people. Young people are the future. They are the population growth, their childbearing ages. They are the new workforce. They're the new technology. And we're losing them on Long Island. Too expensive to buy a house now on Long Island, to pay the property taxes on Long Island. You know, how do you do it now with a young couple starting out? Also, young people today have a different set of values. They're not car-oriented people. They're mass transit-oriented. They like to live in downtown communities. They like communities where you can walk to places, right? They live in an apartment. They want to walk to the restaurant. They want to walk to socialize. The mentality that said, you know, I want a half an acre and I want a patio and I want a barbecue grill. They are more density, more mass transit of an environment. And the transit-oriented development move is exactly right. They want to be within walking distance to mass transit. So we started something in the state called the Downtown Revitalization Initiative, DRI, because in government everything has to have an acronym. They don't like to use words. So DRI, Downtown Revitalization Initiative, was revitalize your downtown. I know for a lot of years the focus was on suburban development and sprawl, building out and out and out, right? Concentric circles. We have to change the thinking and redevelop the downtown areas. We have too many main streets with too many shops that are closed. We have too many main streets that are dying. Let's revitalize those downtown areas, which happen to be the hubs of where mass transit is. And that has been a major focus for the state's economic development efforts under the Empire State Development Corporation, Howard Zemsky, literally redeveloping downtowns. Now, the way we did it with the Downtown Revitalization Initiative is we said, look, we don't know how Hicksville should revitalize its downtown area. But we will have a competition, and downtown areas that are interested in rehabilitating and redeveloping, you come up with a redevelopment plan, and we'll have a competition, and we will fund $10 million to the winning project that has the most potential for downtown revitalization. And people were excited about it. We put $100 million behind it. That meant we were going to have 10 winners at $10 million. I'm not especially good at math, but even I could figure that out. And a funny thing happened on the way to the DRI. It went over so well that we had 104 applications for 10 spots, okay? So that means there's going to be a lot of disappointed competitors. So we adjusted our plans a little bit, $10 million for the first place winner. And then we said we'll contemplate second place winners that'll win $8 million. Third place winners that will win $5 million. Fourth place winners that will win $2 million and a set of steak knives. Winning second place is a great honor. Third place is a great honor because the competition was so tough out of 104 applications. I know you worked very hard, but I know every place worked very hard. So of the 104 applications, Hicksville came in within the top 10. Congratulations, you won the first place award of $10 million. So you don't get the set of steak knives, that's the bad news. The good news is you do get $10 million. And I just wanted to congratulate you because the competition was ferocious. These were bottom-up plans. It required the community to come together. It required leadership, vision, creativity. It's a different way of thinking. And I am so excited for your win because when you put this downtown revitalization together with a brand new $100 million train station, and a transformed LIRR that is reliable once again, I think Hicksville is going to be stronger than it has ever been before. And at the end of the day, our obligation is very simple. Whether we're in government, we're in business, we're citizens, it gets simple. We are supposed to leave this place better than we found it, right? We're supposed to leave this place better for our children than our parents left it for us. Native Americans have a great proverb that we didn't inherit the earth from our parents. We're borrowing it from our children. I believe we're going to leave a better Long Island, a better Hicksville for the next generation than we found it. And you, my friends, made it happen. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's now my pleasure to introduce the creative genius behind all of this, Howard Zemsky, head of Empire State Development Corporation.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Governor. That is a very hard act to follow, for sure. Great to be with all of you, and congratulations. I know a lot of work went into this. I'm down here from beautiful Buffalo, but I grew up on Long Island, not too far from here, in Woodbury, Syosset, and I miss it. I have some Long Island street cred I want to share with you. I was a Newsday paper boy. I played on Sarah Wire Little League team. And I miss Long Island. The problem was that I wasn't really that good a fit on Long Island. And you know how like Garrison Keillor talks about Minnesota and all the kids are above average? Here in Long Island, they're all way above average. And everyone had that bumper sticker on their car. My son is an honor student. And I said to my mother, how come we don't have one of those bumper stickers? I said, can't we get one of those? She said, yeah, there's a problem. You're not an honor student. I said, well, isn't there something we could put on the car that would relate to me? She said, yeah, I'll think about that. And then a couple months went by, we didn't talk about it again, and she picked me up one day. She had like the largest bumper sticker I've ever seen. And the words, there were so many words on it, you could barely read it. I had to squint to see what it said, and it said something like, my son completed his remedial work in English, math, and chemistry, and will hopefully graduate someday soon from Syosset High School. Anyway, I don't have much to add to that. I want to say that the way the governor does economic development is such a dramatic improvement from the way we used to do economic development. And I want to thank Stuart Rabinowitz and Kevin Law and everyone here and anyone here who has participated in the REDC, because economic development used to be a spectator sport, and now we're, in the game and making it happen. And the plans on Long Island make so much sense. And by the way, and Stuart, I think, was one of these co-chairs, like Kevin, who volunteered for 2 years and now is in his seventh year. But the thing about Long Island is you've won like 6 years. This is a competition, and I think you all know the governor's keen on competition, but Long Island has won for like 6 out of 7 years. I think Long Island has won more than any region in the state of New York. So, and it's, yep, you can clap for that. And the governor talked about the Long Island plan, and the Long Island plan from the beginning has had this focus on downtown revitalization and keeping young people and attracting young people back, leveraging all the amazing STEM institutions and jobs that are here, and providing the infrastructure to allow for reverse commuting, but to make Long Island more affordable and more walkable and with a greater diversity in housing stock. And that's what your plan does. And you know your plan, you know it does all those things. It gets really to the heart of what the governor's holistic, sustainable economic development approach is. You did a great job. You're upping the walkability, you're upping the bike paths. I know you have an elevated park plaza. You're creating great community spaces. You're going to have more entertainment venues. You're going to have more food trucks. I guarantee you, if you have a classic car night, the governor will show up and participate. But you did a great job, and I'm proud of ESD and the work that Kara and the whole team at ESD does. And I'm particularly grateful that the governor has given us the opportunity in all the regions of the state, and the plan right here on Long Island is so spot on, and he gives us all the tools we need to make a new future and to keep going and growing. So I want to thank the governor, and again, congratulate all of you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Town of Oyster Bay Supervisor Joseph Saladino. Thank you, Governor Cuomo, for this very exciting day here in Hicksville and throughout the town of Oyster Bay. Lionel Chitty, you did a wonderful job in introducing the governor. Lionel's been a great partner on this entire project. You know, we're visited today by so many mayors, my dear friends, mayors in the town of Oyster Bay, Mayor Jeff Privado, Mayor Elliott Conway. Wouldn't it be great if we named Lionel Chitty the honorary mayor of Hicksville? Governor Cuomo's downtown revitalization initiative has been instrumental in transforming cities and towns across the state of New York. And when the state announced they'd be launching a second round, we saw tremendous potential here in Hicksville for this competition. Working together with New York State, we've already made large strides, strengthening the community, improving the economy, making sure that young people want to stay here in our town, not only for Hicksville, but for the entire town of Oyster Bay. Today, we're thrilled and grateful to accept this very special award. This funding will help us continue to turn Hicksville into a vibrant, state-of-the-art economic hub for our residents and for our businesses. It's an incredible opportunity to continue our momentum and keep Hicksville and the town of Oyster Bay moving forward into the next decade at lightning speed. And we do like competition here in our town, Governor. It's clear that Governor Andrew Cuomo recognizes the tremendous potential here in Hicksville, and he recognizes that it's about the will of the people in the town of Oyster Bay. So I want to thank him for his vision and his commitment to economic growth here and throughout the island. In my almost 14 years of working in the New York State Assembly, I had an opportunity to work with Governor Cuomo as well as my colleagues in the Senate and the Assembly. And our governor has proven time and time again that he's here to make the right difference, to bring the change, and to build our communities in the best possible way, in a way that we'll always be proud of. I'd also like to thank the governor's economic development team, the Long Island Regional Economic Development Council, and my colleagues on the Oyster Bay Town Board who have done so much work to make today possible, including Councilwoman Rebecca Alessia, Councilman Tony Macagnone, please. Wonderful partners that I'm so thrilled and fortunate to be working with, including our senior councilman, Joe Muscarella, our Michelle Johnson, our councilwoman, brand new members of the town board, Councilman Lewin Brodo and Councilman Tom Hand, and our town clerk, Jim Altadonna. But most of all, I want to thank Governor Andrew Cuomo, an incredible leader who has made this difference in choosing the town of Oyster Bay, choosing Hicksville, and providing us the support and assistance to make it the best, most vibrant, most incredible downtown in all of the state of New York. Thank you, Governor. And now, for our conclusion, I'd like to bring to the podium our county executive.
Thank you, Joe. It's certainly an honor to join with you all here today. And Governor, here in Hicksville, we prescribe to the Ricky Bobby theory, and if you're not first, you're last. And Hicksville's thrilled to be first in this competition. And once again, through the extraordinary leadership of our governor, he's able to bring together competing interests to come together to make a profound difference, a transformative difference in our great community. And just to give you the scope, I started in elected office in 1996, and many of the community people here will know how many studies Hicksville went through to bring about a different result here in the community. Certainly, legislator Rose Walker, a community leader at the time, her son Rob Walker, and good people, and if I start mentioning, I'm going to miss them, but Bill Foley and Beth Dalton and so many people that came together to try to make a profound difference. Carl Marcelino, our senator at the time, and everyone in campaigning involved in trying to make a difference here. And we went through study after study, the downtown study, the triangle study. If everybody remembers the Hicksville Triangle, I think that went twice. I think we have 2 of those. the charrettes and the community input, but it takes a leader and someone that is committed to making a difference, and that's what you found here in Governor Cuomo. He's been a great friend to Long Island, a great friend to Nassau County, Oyster Bay, and here in Hicksville, and we are all going to be the better for it as we create jobs and opportunities, transform our downtown, and be proud to pass along to the next generation an even better community. So to all the community leaders, thank you for your decades of work to bring us here today. And to all the elected officials that worked hard on this, I'm sure we all collectively say, thank you, Governor Cuomo. God bless you. God bless America. And we're going to bring the governor up with some photos.